900,000 miles on the rod bearings. Wow.
Usually you'll have oil or a dirt impregnation and it'll pick up a particle. That's the cleanest bearing I've ever seen come out of the motors.
The connecting rod bearings on the 6.7, one of them looked like polished aluminum. It was gorgeous, perfect. The second one was a little bit discolored. And that was another question. Why was one half of the bearing a different color than the other? A lot of that has to do with the temperature of it. But as you can see, even on these bearings, these are my connecting rod bearings. Here's cap, connecting rod cap, connecting rod. So these ones that you can see the brass or copper color, they sat inside the connecting rod. Can you see the 3 different layers of bearing? It started right here. This top half. That's where the bearing started new. And then it wore out. And then it wore through that layer into this darker color of layer. And then it wore through that layer. And now it's down into this brass colored layer. So it's worn through into the 3rd layer of the bearing. And if you remember Dave talking about the connecting rod bearings on that 6.7, he took it over and he put it under the microscope and he measured it and he showed you those striations that are built into the bearing to hold that oil.
But the rest of them, that striation. And all you've done is you've basically taken off the top of those striations.
The top layer of the striations.
That's it.
Okay.
You know, if you look at the striations cut, it would look almost like a mountain range. It'd be super jagged and rough. And what that's for is to hold the oil inside of it so that you're running on the oil. And all that had happened to that one half of the bearing was that it had worn the tips of those striations off, so they were round now rather than being super jagged. He said 2 different measurements on it. First he said it was 1/1000th of wear on that bearing, and then further on in the video he says that it's 1/10,000th of an inch of wear on that bearing. These, I would imagine, would be probably a couple of thousandths of wear between brand new and how thick that one is right there, because it's worn through several layers of bearing.